Tom Pelissero from NFL Network just tweeted this. The Chiefs plan to put Travis Kelce through a workout this morning to test his injured knee. Just 2 days after hyperextending that knee and suffering a bone bruise, he is a true game day decision for tonight's opener against the Lions. The reason why this line shortened is because of the Travis Kelce news. So, Chelsa, do you want to roll the dice? Right now at BetMGM, you can still get the Chiefs at -4.5. I like them at -6.5. I like them at -4.5. But just imagine if you get them right now, -4 and a hook, and Travis Kelce returns tonight. It's a risk, maybe one worth taking.
Ooh, I'm sold. I feel like I'm watching an infomercial. Just imagine if you could get the Kansas City Chiefs and a commemorative gold coin, all for the low price of -4.5. Are you in? You could even get a free gift. They're going to be getting their championship NFL Super Bowl rings today at Arrowhead Stadium. So I was in on the Chiefs. I was waffling on this morning because do you ever make a bet too early in the week? To where you have time to marinate on it, and you're like, okay, so my points were good, but what if this happens? And I started to think, okay, what if Travis Kelce is a gaping hole in this offense? They still got Patrick Mahomes, though. And all of the numbers that I have seen go squarely in the favor of the Chiefs because I've been on the Chiefs all week long because of this. Patrick Mahomes in the month of September has been an absolute wagon. 49 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, 13-3 straight up, and also in his last 5 season openers, 5-0, including 4-1 against the number. Also, he has one of the best head coaches in the game who is excellent when he has extra time to prepare. Andy Reid in season openers, 9-1 straight up to start the season since joining the Chiefs, and 7-3 against the number in his last 10 openers. Why is this? Like I said, he's great when he has extra time to prepare. This is why he's 27-4 off a bye week. The man is great when he can scheme up a bunch of things for the offense. So even with Travis Kelce possibly sitting out for this one, I think Andy Reid is fully capable of, scheming up something that can still work for the Chiefs. And also, he has the ultimate trump card in Patrick Mahomes.
And I have to ask you about Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and the Buffs laying 3.5 points in Boulder. It's going to be an electric atmosphere. But also, while what he's done already is impressive, we are talking about a single game and a TCU team that is much different than the one that made the national championship game last year. So what is your take on what you've seen thus far from Colorado?
I'm super impressed. I mean, Travis Hunter playing 120 snaps. You've got multiple weapons in the receiving game. Shedeur Sanders, I think a lot of people thought, okay, here comes an inexperienced FBS quarterback. He's probably going to, or FCS quarterback, he's probably going to have to run around and do a lot of stuff with his legs. He didn't. He did it all with his arm, over 500 yards. I'll own it. I'll be honest. I was one of those people doubting that Colorado could put it together that quickly. Whether it's against TCU's defense or not, they put it together that quickly. And when I look at week 2, I think this 3.5 point line, guys, is as much a function of Nebraska looking awful in week 1 as it is Colorado looking really good in week 1. So I think you combine those two things, Nebraska looking like Big Ten offense, here we go, and Colorado looking like they can light up the scoreboard at will, even if it is against a defense like TCU's. And I think that's where you get the 3.5 point spread that right now I would be on Colorado to cover that. Do we all get burned by it? It's still entirely possible. Was it a 1 week mirage? I guess that's possible. But when you do it in such emphatic fashion as the Buffs did, I tend to believe that at least for one more week at home against a listless Huskers team, they've got a chance to cover.
I can see that it looks like you're wearing, I could be wrong, I knew it, an Alabama shirt. PJ is an Alabama guy. Went to Alabama, I went to Texas. So we're going to make a friendly bet on this show. If Bama wins, I have to wear a Bama shirt of some sort on this show. If Texas wins, you will reciprocate and you will wear burnt orange. Is this correct? Have we come to this agreement?
We have, Jenks, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a solid bet. I think it's going to be a great game as well. I'm sure you guys have talked about it throughout the week. Jenks, I heard you say that you like the under. I'm right there with you. This game last year was low scoring. I think the game this year is going to be low scoring as well. Bama has 3 offensive linemen, guys, that weigh over 350 pounds. Their quarterback, Jalen Milroe, is the fastest player on their team. Their best skill position player is their running back, Jace McClellan. They have like 3 or 4 guys in the running back room who are very solid, complement each other well. And Nick Saban's going to play to his strengths. And the strength of this year's team is the run game and then the defense. The defense is as good as it's been in the last 4 or 5 years. So he's got a new offensive coordinator in Tommy Rees. He's got a quarterback in Jalen Milroe who really doesn't have that much experience. And he's got a massive offensive line. And he's got the home crowd behind him in this game. So what do you want to do? Take the air out of the football, chew clock, and just kind of slow down Texas and keep that high-powered offense off the field. So, Jenks, I'm with you. The under is the play for me in this game, 54.5. I think Bama wins as well, just because, you know, guys, people really aren't talking about it enough. I mean, Bryant-Denny is a tough place to win a game. Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, Johnny Manziel, and Chad Kelly, those are the 4 guys since LSU won the game of the century in 2009 that have won in Bryant-Denny. So it usually takes a special kind of quarterback. Quinn Ewers is really, really good, and he's going to need to have the game of his life for Texas to win that game.
Ooh, I forgot about Swag Kelly and the game of the century. Imagine it being the year 2009. They're like, nah, we're 9 years in, but this is going to be the game of the century. And the final score was what, 12-9?
9-6. Not even that much, Chelsa. 9-6. I know.
I remember that. What a marketing strategy for the game of the century. What do you think the case is for the Lions tonight?
I think the case is a couple things. Their defense will be better. They drafted a linebacker. I forget who they got. Double D was saying this in the chat. They signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson from the Eagles, who's going to be very good in that secondary. They're going to be more diverse on offense with Jahmyr Gibbs. And you know what? I'll give some love to Jared Goff, because this is a guy who was sort of thrown away, tossed out by the Rams. Jared Goff was great last year. Pro Bowler, 29 touchdowns, 7 picks. They have a guy in Amon-Ra St. Brown. So they have offensive talent. The defense should be better. And also, look at that Kansas City defense. With Chris Jones out right now, and yesterday he was saying he could jump in and play immediately. Maybe they're getting closer to coming to some sort of contract agreement because he's been holding out the entire time. Wants more because of all the other defensive tackles that got paid during the offseason. If you're the Lions, you can score, and maybe you can attack like the middle of that Chiefs defense, particularly with Gibbs and Montgomery, and keep this thing close. Look, the total has gone from 54 and a hook down to 52 and a hook, back up to 53. So if we see a high-scoring game, we could see a back-and-forth game where both of these offenses are very potent, could score a lot, and then it's close. So I would not just count the Lions out just because Patrick Mahomes is on the field.
Exactly. I think the Lions will be able to score, which makes me think that we will see a lot of touchdowns, but 53.5 is still a very high total for the first game of the season and a primetime game at that. But the player that I'm very interested to watch tonight is Jahmyr Gibbs. The Lions will not shut up about their shiny new toy that they got in the first round out of the University of Alabama. I think the play that I would circle, when props to look at, is Jahmyr Gibbs over his receiving prop of 31.5. This is not the best number that you could have gotten. In fact, it was like 25.5 earlier, I think last week. But they have talked about using him creatively and the fact that he brings so much to the table because he can also catch passes. Last season, the Kansas City Chiefs gave up the most receptions to running backs of any team in the NFL. So we will see if this trend can continue tonight. I think it probably does, because I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get plenty of looks. They want to use him. This guy's really confident too, already predicting a huge season for himself. So let's do that. Over 31.5 receiving yards for Jahmyr Gibbs as well.